Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shame for the championship. Bucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. Division really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy, then you probably smell the crooked referees or Roger Goodell. Running like this, and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
Welcome. You're now rocking with the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, where we have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sport talk from your favorite sports fam. Shout out to the great Saint Tank and the entire Who Dat Nation. We up in this thing. Please feel free to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button as we get popping and shaking up in this one. Happy Sunday to the family members. Appreciate y'all for being here. Hope you having a fantastic and productive weekend as we get ready for some Saints news and notes on this one. Big ups to the fam. All right, so shout out to the family. Appreciate each and every last one of y'all in this thing. Shout out to a few family members chiming in all the way from Facebook. Shauna, Trina Washington. I hope I'm saying that right. Yeah, Shauna, Trina Washington, listening to us from Facebook. Shout out to you, Shauna. Much love, baby. Appreciate you. Brother Edric Harris, shout out to you, my friend. Brother John McDonald, shout out to you and Carlos Wallace. Shout out to the family members chiming in from Facebook. So big ups to the fam. Thank y'all for being this one. Please feel free to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and like I always ask, feel free to share the show's links on your social media feed. We up in this thing. Shout out to the fam. Shout out to the fam indeed. This one entitled latest on Sean Payton Sweepstakes number 3. We're going to talk about that. We also got some other news and notes to cover about the Saints QB position. We will talk about that. I see one of the family members made mention about that, so we'll cover this in this episode. So shout out to JT, brother Keldrick, Shotty, shout out to you as well. BJ9, Big Ant, J-Live 504, Ferg 318, Kai the Great, Country Rail, King Morrison, Quavadius, shout out to you as well. Brother DeWright, much love to you, fam. Terra66, shout out to you, brother Eugene's in the building as well. Bobby the Space Ghost, big ups to you, brother Farouk. What's up, fam? Snake Bite, Zach Williams, Trey Joseph's in this thing. Brother KT is in this thing. Shout out to KT, much love. And everybody else in the building as well. All right, what's up, brother Montreal? How you doing, fam? Appreciate you and thank you for joining us. OG Jerry Paws in the building. Much love to the OG in there. Much love. Appreciate you, sir. And big ups to the entire Great Saint Tank and the entire Who Dat Nation. Appreciate y'all. All right, Trav 504's in this thing as well. So big ups to the fam. Much love. All right, I hope I pronounced that. I'm MMK2. Hope I who that to you, fam. Appreciate you. Thank you, sir. All right, so listen, fam. We've been watching this thing. We've been checking out everything going on in the Great Saint Tank, man. We've been kind of looking at it all. And the big shoe to drop for the black and gold is, of course, where Sean Payton goes. And, of course, you see the thumbnail that was created. You can see that those are all the options currently at play. Even the Fox Sports one is put up there. I got 2 interviews that I'm going to play for you guys, some sound that we're going to go over and analyze today on the stream. Also, we're going to cover some articles and we're going to talk some stuff, and then we're going to take some Q&A on the back of the show. Much love to y'all. Appreciate y'all. All right. What's up, Joseph? Shout out to you, my friend. Appreciate Joseph And okay, thank all right. I'm MMK says you got it, Q. All right, I'm on it. I'm on it, brother. Thank you, sir. All right, appreciate you. All right, Carla, what's happening, Queen? Much love to all the queens. You know, I love the queens out there. And not the brothers too, got love for the brothers, but you know, the queens is, you know, that's where it's popping at. You know, the queens in effect. Carla, brother Neville, what's up, fam? Appreciate you, sir, as well. All right, so that's the big shooter drop, and I know a lot of people still upset with Sean Payton, and rightfully so. Sean Payton's bringing a lot of energy against himself because of how he did it. He quit basically in the middle of his agreement, just quit on the team. He quit on the team, resigned, went up there, started talking about all his little stories and everything with Fox. And now he said he did keep it true to the fact that he said that he will wait a year, which the year has moved on in terms of what he was going to do and come back to coaching. He did talk to Vic Fangio about being a defensive coordinator, perhaps when he do find the proper spot. And of course, the two things that he really was saying about finding the proper spot was the ownership group, meaning, you know, if it's a stable ownership group, which Denver does have a stable ownership group, and the money and his money. And this was talked about in the season about potential, what he could command from the next squad. And he was saying between $20 to $25 million for Sean Payton services. So a 4-year agreement, $80 million. A 5-year agreement, $100 million at 25. So it's in that scale between 20 mil and 25. That was actually reported by the reporters before the season ended, that he could command as much as 20 million or more. Now, the issue is, do they have teams with deep enough pockets and serious commitment to bring Coach Payton onto their squad and do that? If any team is in the right position for Sean Payton to go to, it is most certainly the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos are a team that has ownership. That's the Walmart group that owns them. They probably the richest. I think they are the richest group, or the richest group of owners in the NFL. And that says a lot, because a lot of these people have very deep pockets. So they've already committed so much money, $100 million or whatever it is, to Russell Wilson. It's a big chunk of guaranteed money. They can't like trade Russell Wilson. So whatever they do, they got to find the right coach that can get Russell Wilson confident again and get that offense flowing. And Sean Payton, this is picture perfect for Sean Payton, just to go right to Denver. It works for the Who Dat Nation. Denver already said that it's willing to give up picks and, you know, to acquire Sean Payton. And then, of course, on the groundswell, there's some resistance to giving up capital to get Sean Payton. A lot of those people that's saying that the Denver people are absolute idiots. Let's just say that off top. You ain't done nothing in years. You know, the last time you did something when another Peyton was there, Peyton Manning. So listen, you stuck with Russell Wilson. You need a veteran guy that has a good resume on the offensive side of the ball. Sean Payton would work really well with him, to a degree, I think even better than he worked with Drew Brees when he was in New Orleans. So it'll be a good matchup. And all you talking is money, and the money coming from the Walmart group, and you already tied to Russell Wilson. Match made. But in terms of the compensation that we're looking for, like to get from a team like the Texans have the best package, but they had a crappy, what I'm hearing on the ground in various reports, is saying that they botched the interview process. It wasn't a good interview process with Sean Payton with the Texans. So, you know, that's something else. And of course, Monday we'll get into the latest reports on Sean Payton. So we'll cover all that. So that's the next big shoe to drop for the Who Dat Nation. We've got to get Sean Payton off of this team, get the draft capital for him for this year and next year, and then move into the season. Now, we know that Dennis Allen's not a very good coach. He's not much of a coach. And I think that that'll take care of itself, because the pressure, man, you talking about it, the pressure will be so much on him in the Who Dat Nation. And the Saints themselves from the Who Dat Nation will be really stern. It's the most pressure they would have felt in a long time. So this will hinge on, this is something that Loomis kind of hitched his little horse to, and it's not looking good for Mickey Loomis in the end. So And listen, I'm an advocate, and I like Mickey. I don't know many people sit up here and imitate Mickey Loomis as good as I do. Y'all know my Mickey. I can sit up here and do a whole show of Mickey. We brought Mickey on the show. He answered some questions from the Who Dat Nation. But yeah, but I love Mickey Loomis. Mickey Loomis is a good dude, man. But listen, Mickey, your vision is gone, bro. And that's why we need to move guys into the team with vision. We don't want to lose a young general manager to another squad, because that's what's going to mention. That's what's going to happen with Kai if you don't give him an opportunity. You've had it for 20-something years, 23 if I'm precise. 23 years Mickey Loomis has been with this team as an executive. Time for him to move on, create a new position for him somewhere up in the organization, making the general manager of getting napkins and plastic forks, and making sure the parking, the yellow on the parking lot is painted to the yellowest perfection, making sure that he makes sure the goalposts are wiped off, the general manager of wiping the goalpost off, the general manager of making sure that the grass is cut, the general manager of making sure the uniforms are washed and everything is perfected. Give them any job. Just give the job, the general manager job, to a guy like Kai, or I would even say Jeff Ireland, who's had the general manager job before. Because why? These guys have more vision than Mickey Loomis. Mickey Loomis, you've done it. You've had your little day in the sun. It's time to move on, because obviously you don't have the vision that is needed to take the team into the next 10 to 20 year window. You don't have that. You don't have that vision. So like I said, it's all about planning. The Saints, slow on the draw, slow everywhere. Just finally made some firings, did these bullcrap evaluations, fired Dan Rouchar. He was a sacrificial firing. We all knew it should have been Pete Carmichael. We all knew it should have been Dennis Allen. He doing these bullcrap moves and passing it on. All the plans are late. Didn't make a plan or 2 weeks into the offseason. They got teams that's already hiring coaches or interviewing coaches for positions of the offense that you need. You're missing out on these guys because they're slow and there is no sense of urgency, because there is no vision. You have to, and these guys, and that's why I was saying from the top down, that it's time for a complete culture change in this team. Not the fact that Drew Brees is gone and Sean Payton is gone. That era is gone. It's time to start a whole new era, and Mickey Loomis needs to be vacated with them, and take this guy, this janitor of a coach with you. Take him with you somewhere and let him be the assistant of wiping the goalpost down and making sure the washing machines work correctly. He probably screwed that up too. But anyway, let's get into some of the news I got to you. We're going to start off today with one report, then we're going to go into some of these videos that I want to play about thoughts on Sean Payton, because there's some thinking that Payton could ultimately don't go to this hiring cycle and ultimately go back to Fox, which if he don't like if they don't give him the money that he wants, or if it's not situation, he does have the Fox card where he can go back. I'm going to play some interviews from that, and we're going to get some commentary on that. So please feel free to hit the like button as we get popping and snapping up in this thing. So let's start it off with this one here. All right. Here we go. This is the thing right here, man, as we take a look at what's going on. A report, Sean Payton Panthers interview tentatively rescheduled for Monday. They had an issue. A soccer player died. They had to postpone some things. And Mickey Loomis is, not Mickey, but Sean Payton is set up to interview with the Panthers on this upcoming Monday. Now, of course, if you go to the Panthers, the Saints will have to fleece them for a lot more, because it's in essence, listen, what do the Panthers actually have that you will want? DJ Moore? Are they going to surrender DJ Moore? They will not surrender DJ Moore and anything from the offense, because Sean Payton will need that if he goes there. My thing is this. This is a dumb move by Mickey Loomis. Hold on now, Q. Hold on now. Here we go. Here you go, name calling again. Let me tell you something here. I'm old enough to be your grandpa. I'm not going to put up with this, Q. Listen. Bottom line, I did the hold on, with Mickey. Get your stuff together. Get it together, Mickey. Why did you give permission to the Carolina Panthers to interview Sean Payton? Do you not realize how foolish that is? To send Sean Payton, who's the best coach the Saints ever had, to a Division 4, and then they're right across the way, and you sitting up here with Dennis Allen? Are you kidding me?
Well, listen here, Q. All I'm saying is, we love Sean, and I just wanted to give him the best place for him to go. I just feel, I just love him so much.
Yeah, we know you love him, but that's stupid, Mickey. They sent him to let him talk to the Carolina Panthers. That is dumb. We don't want him to go to a division rival. If you're going to do anything with Payton, send him to the AFC, send him somewhere else, that you won't have to see him multiple times.
Well, let me tell you something. I'm sick of this shit. I mean, y'all guys sit up here on your ass, and you're not the general manager, Q. We are. I'm the general manager, and I say I want the Carolina.
Okay, Mickey, go ahead on about your business, Mickey. You start getting all honorary. You can't talk to Mickey after that. I'll wait till I talk to him after he eats his clam chowder and orange juice. After you do that, I'll talk to him later. But it's absolutely foolish. But anyway, Sean Payton's interview tentatively rescheduled for Monday. Panthers and Payton were supposed to meet about the team's head coaching vacancy on Friday, but the interview was put on hold. Panthers owner David Tepper and other team officials set to meet with Payton in New York returned Charlotte on Thursday after the death of a Charlotte FC soccer player, Anton Walks. I hope I'm pronouncing the man correctly. Rest in peace for that man. Adam Schefter of ESPN reports that the interview had been tentatively rescheduled for Monday. Reports that this week indicated that Bills offensive coordinator Ken Dorsey would interview with the Panthers on Saturday. It is unclear if there has been any busy change to the scheduled meeting. Payton has interviewed with the Broncos and Texans. The Cardinals have also been granted permission to interview him, and at some point, they're thinking next week that the Cardinals will get an opportunity to sit down, or maybe virtually, however the situation will work out, to talk to Payton. Now, of course, we realize and know that right now, as it sees, that the Arizona Cardinals are the farthest team out from being the serious contender at getting Sean Payton services. But as it stands right now, the two top people are the Denver Broncos and whatever Carolina is willing to offer. Now, Carolina is acting just like the Denver Broncos. They don't have the Russell Wilson on top of the team. They don't have all they got a top 10 pick. But the reality is, if you sending him to Carolina, and I'm just entertaining the thought because we got to go there. If you send him to Carolina, you got to get more than what you would get if you sent him to Denver because of the uncomfortableness of him being inside of the division with you, which is, I wouldn't do that. I would definitely, this is a dumb plan, because even if there are in the chances like with Q, they'll drive the asking prices or the asking price up for Sean Payton services. What if Payton decides to go to Carolina? Huh? That's the danger in it. Yeah, the good is it could drive the asking price up. But the danger is, what if they say something or offer him something where he says, you know what, Carolina's the team. That is the danger of it. I don't want to see Sean Payton in Carolina. Why? Because they're a division rival. They're a foe. They're a division foe. You don't want to see the winningest Saint coach in history coaching your freaking rival. That's just, can we get that understood? So when they granted that, I was like, this man don't know what he doing, man. No smart general manager that is on this planet with 3 brain cells, now damn it, 2 brain cells to rub against each other and cause friction to create a thought, would actually grant his rival, his division rival, an opportunity to interview the winningest coach in Saints history. And then if he decides dangerously to say Carolina's the team, then what do? Okay, to give up an extra pick for Sean Payton. Now he's over there, and you got to compete with him to come out of the division every year with Dennis Allen sitting on top of the team. Are you kidding me? That sounds like that's a dead ringer right there. that don't make any sense. So the point of it is, no, this is you want to fleece them, but they're not going to give up any serious offensive pieces. Why? Because they traded all of them. McCaffrey went to the 49ers. Anybody else you want, they're going to say no to it. They don't have anybody else that you want. DJ Moore, and they're not. Sean Payton decides to go there. He's not going to surrender his best offensive player to the Saints. Then what will he have? You see? So you don't want nobody on defense, and they're not going to give up these top players on defense to land with Sean. They're not going to pull the team apart for Sean Payton. They'll give you draft capital or whatever. But Tepper is a dude that said he's going to do everything he can to land Sean Payton. So if he offers him something that Denver don't offer him, he says, oh, Carolina's the team, then what do? Then Mickey, well, congratulations to Sean to going to the Carolina Panthers. Like, dude, are you crazy? We trying to win something. You don't send Payton in division, fool. Right on the spot, we should be demanding Mickey Loomis be fired if he do send that Sean Payton to Carolina. We trying to win out of here, man. All these teams in a complete disarray. Arthur Smith, don't know us, you know what, from a hole in the ground. You got the, Ty Bowles down in Tampa Bay. They're going to be a disarray. Kyle Trash, I said it right, not Trask, but Trash will be their starting quarterback, so they'll take a step back. Carolina don't have a quarterback. They're going to be middling around there. They have to build up. So if the Saints are in a prime position to take possession of the NFC South if they operated correctly. And, of course, we know the major impediment to the Saints having success in the NFC South are Dennis Allen and Pete Carmichael. So we self-sabotaging from within with these enemy agents named Dennis Allen and Pete Carmichael. They're self-sabotagers. They little gremlins running around unscrewing bolts in your ship while you're trying to go to war. They're throwing monkey wrenches into the fine gears of your motor so that you be sabotaged, and then when you get to the middle of the water, then all of a sudden you're caught off guard by a group of people firing on your ship. So this is a foolhardy endeavor. But Sean Payton, we'll see what happens. But for right now, it's pointing at Denver and possibly him going back. So anyway, let's get into this interview right here. We'll get into this one right here, what Albert Breer says about Sean Payton. Take a listen, fam. Y'all put one in the chat if y'all can hear it, like to hear it go.
Sean Payton more likely to take a job this year or go back into TV?
I sort of think he's going to go back into TV. I think this is sort of a day-to-day thing with him.
All this talk about all of these openings and.
But I mean, like, here's the thing: is like I know like two things that are really important to him are geography and quarterback, right? And like I think staying close to Los Angeles would have been ideal for him, which is why the Chargers kept coming up, because the Chargers emphatically check both those boxes. And then, you hear his comments, which he made publicly, about there being some organizations where you just can't win, right? And how the quarterback affects that. And like Arizona and Denver, can he win there? Because like you look at the quarterback contracts in those two places, and it's not like, okay, like I'm going to take this guy out for a test drive for a year and then get rid of him. Like those contracts sort of lock those guys into those franchises for the next few years. And like Sean Payton at his age might only have one more shot at this. So does he want to hitch his future to Russell Wilson in Denver? Does he want to hitch his future to Kyler Murray in Arizona? I'm not sure that he does. And I actually think the Houston situation might be more interesting.
Yeah, I said that too.
Because you get to pick your own quarterback there. And look, like part of it is you're dealing with more unknown in Houston, but you pick your own quarterback there. You've got 2 first-round picks in each of the next 2 drafts. Now, maybe you have to give up one of those to get them, but you've still got a lot of them, And in Denver or Arizona, you'd be giving them up, and then you wouldn't have much left, You have cap space. You have some young talent. The team was competitive at the end of the year. Like, I just look at it like if I'm Sean Payton right now, I'm probably studying Bryce Young. You know what I mean? Like, I'm probably looking pretty hard at Bryce Young and saying to myself, how much do I like this kid? Because if I can draft him into Houston, now I've got him on a rookie contract at a fraction of what I'd be paying Wilson in Denver or Murray in Arizona. And I have him on that contract for the next few years, and I have all these picks to build around him. I just think like Houston, to me, there's just something that's more interesting about that situation. If I'm Sean Payton, and again, you're doing it without the certainty at quarterback, and certainty on other parts of the roster, which, like you're going to have to get some draft picks right. You're going to have to get some free agents right. But I think it's an intriguing situation to sort of build the franchise in your own image if you want to. The other thing is like, if you sit and wait and you decide to go do TV for another year, maybe that Chargers job is open in 2024.
All right, let's stop right there. Okay, let's stop it right there. Now, first and foremost, let's look at it like this. Let's look at it like this. That's Albert Breer, by the way.
Welcome back to Mic'd Up. I'm excited to have this next conversation with our guest, Mike Triplett. He covers.
Let me get this right. All right, so number one, this is the thing, fam. Let's do this. Let me see if I can move my screen here. Give me just a second. Let me move my screen here. All right, let's get this straight, fam. Number one, that's Albert Breer's commentary on it. And listen, he's a guy. He's just a reporter. He don't cover the Saints all the time. We cover the Saints all the time. And a lot of these people, they got like it's a view. Like there's a, how can I explain it? It's a trendy view of what Coach Payton is. Like a lot of people see Coach Payton as the end all be all. He'll come on your team and your Super Bowl team. Not true. But what's interesting about his commentary about Coach Payton going back to Fox, I would say that would be something that is the least likely thing to happen. Why would he go back to talking about the game on Fox when they have two teams, several teams right now that'll be willing to pay Coach Payton's asking price? Nobody's giving him any resistance here. Let's get that understood. Number one, this is let's say a national vantage point of the situation. Now, if you're a guy that pay attention to the Saints like the Sports Coma do, then you have a PhD in Saintology. These guys here, they got they got a doctorate or something on that level. Now, what make them a little bit more in depth is that they'll have insiders. Could they pay for inside information? I could pay for inside information as well. I just choose not to. It's more incumbent upon me just to look at the situation because it's not hard to tell. If you're paying attention to it, it's very transparent. It ain't that difficult. Every now and again, they'll surprise you. But in the end, it bends the way you see it. Now, what I mean by that is this. Sean Payton, I don't think he goes back to Fox. I don't think he goes back to Fox because there's obvious situations out here that's willing not only to pay him the $20 to $25 million deal per year that he's willing to give the Denver Broncos, deep pockets, Walmart Group are willing to do that. That's already been put out there. They've already, this is not nothing new. When they fired Paul Hackett, Nathaniel Hackett, which is Hackett's boy, that's how he got the job. When they fired him, they already had their eyesight on two coaches. Those two coaches was Harbaugh, who was at Michigan, who came in and interviewed with him because he was running from an investigation at Michigan, then opted to go back to Michigan because I'm telling you, Inside Baseball said that whatever he was running from is not that severe and it won't be that hard on the program. So he went back to Michigan. And the other guy was Sean Payton. They want a bona fide because they tired of these half-ass coaches that only know defense or this, that, and the third. You see what I'm saying? They need an offensive-minded guy that could command the respect of the team. That's number one. Number two is, if you look at the Denver Broncos, that's not my squad. But looking at the Denver Broncos, all they need is a guy that can get Russell Wilson together because Russell Wilson in the offense for the Broncos was the biggest problem last year. Not their special teams units, not their defense. It's that they didn't believe in whatever the offense was doing in Denver. They were the problem big time. They were a major issue. And you look at Russell Wilson wasn't engaged. In terms of how he was in it just looked terrible. And for a guy is really good at Russell Wilson at playing quarterback, you have to say, man, that can't be that. Russell Wilson showed us years of him being a good quarterback. You don't just fall off the cliff like that. If you're going to have a decline, it's a gradual decline. It's not something you get up to, and then fall off the cliff. It don't happen like that. So they knew Hackett's situation wasn't working. Can Sean Payton fix that? More likely he can fix it. The draft capital. The Broncos don't need big-time draft capital on top of the team because most of the guys that they have there are guys that contractually are tied in right now where they can win right now. They just need a competent offensive system. He can fix them overnight, just like you've seen what Doug Peterson did with the Jacksonville Jaguars, who was a perpetual dumpster fire for several seasons now, and all of a sudden, the first coach, Dougie Peterson was the first coach in NFL history to take a team from the worst team in the NFL from the last year to a playoff team and win a playoff game the next year. First time that's ever been done in NFL history. Look it up. So that's a similar thing that can happen with Denver, because the reason why they were a dumpster fire is not because of the talent. And we keep saying this. If you don't have leadership on top of the team, this is what happens. And that's not just in sports. That's in business and life, period. If you have a family, if you have a really good, powerful family, you need people that have vision, that sit on top of the family, that's working together, mom and dad or whatever, and making sure that ultimately the family unit goes as far as it can go. They have the vision to be able to take that family to higher heights. And that's the difference between some versus others. It's all about vision. It's all about what you the ability to be able to span 5 to 10 to 20 years down the line, like some of these businesses do. Like Mitsubishi Motors, if you research it, these people have a 500-year plan. How many of us are game planning beyond 5 years? It's not a steady thing, but they have businesses like, and I love the Japanese culture, by the way. They were a culture that planned. They had 100 to 200 year plan. Who amongst us is advanced enough to create 100 to 200 year plan for their family? You see, that's what I'm talking about. That is elite level planning, and that type of stuff exists. So it happens in the smallest levels all the way up to some of the corporate levels. It's the planning of the vision, and the planning gets you to certain places. And the NFL is one of those entities that plan to be here for an additional, it's 100 something, whatever it is, 70 something, I don't know how old it is, but they are planning on being here for the next 100 years. How do they ensure that they're going to be around for the next hundreds of years? By excellent planning. By excellent planning, because the planning goes beyond the average years of a human, which means you got to have other people that come in that are younger on the back end of the plan that's willing to carry that forward and even meet and continue to improve upon the plan. That's such of the meetings of when these boardrooms to get together. And I'm talking this stuff because that's the key to success. It's all about the teams having the ability to plan ahead. Peterson takes over the Jaguars. It wasn't a lack of talent there. Hell, they littered with first-round draft picks. They've been losing for years. They've been getting the top picks. Trevor Lawrence and ETN and all these guys. They got guys, several picks. I'm pretty sure they got more first-round draft picks than any team in the NFL. They're littered with first-round draft picks because they've been picking at the top of the draft for the last several years because they've been just a team that hadn't been able to put it together. But when you got a guy that got the vision for the team and can make them believe, then you can see the difference. See, it's not about, because all teams in the NFL have talent. It's about the talent on top to make sure those guys see the vision of where he wants them to be as a collective. And that is why you're supposed to, when you interview these guys, you're supposed to look for leadership and communication abilities. Well, this guy can speak his vision into the mind of everybody, including the guy that's washing the towels. They have him walking around there thinking he about to win a championship for washing and keeping these towels clean. You see? Man, I'm about to win a championship, man. I'm going to keep these goddamn towels so clean. They're going to give me an award at the end of the year. Yes. Yes, my friend. That's how it goes. The vision, see, when you're a part of the whole, everybody's supposed to have that shared vision. And when you don't have a guy that can speak that, then you have complete disarray. You got the team up here committing penalties. You got the team up here shooting themselves in the foot. You got the team up here not working as hard as they're supposed to, not challenging themselves the way they're supposed to. You got the team in a malaise. And that's what you see with the black and gold. If Peyton goes to Denver, he has enough. Peyton is an alpha. He's not a B. He's an alpha. He's an A. Peyton's an alpha. And Peyton has an uncanny ability of putting Bs around him. I'm telling you, that's what he does, because he is a guy that cannot be challenged. You can't challenge. What happened when guys challenge Peyton on that team? They end up going somewhere else. Remember Nigel Bradham? Remember that guy? He's an A. Remember he challenged Peyton? Peyton got rid of him. Remember Adrian Peterson? He challenged Peyton. Peyton got rid of him. You see what I'm saying? Peyton don't want no exactly at the coaching level around him, and even A's, because they do have alphas as football players, but they also realize the place. We talking about a guy at the coaching level that has an alpha mentality. Mickey's not an A, he's a B. He's a B. Y'all know it. Pete Carmichael's a super B. Dennis Allen is a B. So Payton accumulated these guys around him so they don't challenge him. And anybody that's an A that challenges Payton, he got to get rid of him because he has to have supreme power of the team. He got to have supreme power over the team. And he is he got a little weaker in his discipline principles toward the back end of his career. Maybe he just was tired and decided to relent. But in the end of the day, he has enough discipline in him so he can take a team like the Denver Broncos, and enough resume in him to command respect and automatically get people on board with him to believe again. And he can do that. He can do that for your team because he have enough of the resume. The Super Bowl helps. In all of the years of having top 10 offenses, it helps. And Payton is when it's all said and done, he's going to be a Hall of Famer. No doubt about that. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. So he does have that ability. Anyway, let's go to the next interview, family. This one right here, we're going to chime this up here if we can get it to work right. This is what a guy here, this is a former executive in the league. He used to work with NFL.com and several others. This is what he said about Sean Payton from an exec level and giving up of the picks. Here we go.
Sean Payton, he said, I believe yesterday, that they want first-round pick for him. We don't see coaches traded all that often. Is Sean worth that? Is that a lot for a team to give up draft capital to change head coaches?
Well, I think anytime you've gone through these coaches that have gotten traded, the team that made the trade really won. You know, including Tampa, which gave up a bunch for Gruden. They won a Super Bowl. So I don't know what you pay for that, but they won a Super Bowl. You know, the Bill Parcells trade favored the Jets. The Patriots trade for Belichick favored the Patriots. So yeah, I think that whatever it costs. Now I can't imagine that the Saints are going to say to Carolina, you know, it's going to cost you the same as it would, you know, the Arizona Cardinals or, you know, another team. I think the NFC South might have more value in terms of what it's going to cost than just give them there.
Common sense.
In terms of a good fit for him, he's obviously an offensive guy, so he's going to want to look at what might already be in place. Of the teams that are negotiating with him and with the Saints, is there a team that stands out the most to you?
I think knowing Sean like I do, I think the owner, whoever is the owner that he feels most comfortable with, that he feels he has a relationship with, that he feels he can work hand in hand with, that's not going to change his mind in an hour. I think that'll be the place he goes. I think everything else is irrelevant. I think there's an old saying, don't lose sight of the main thing, because the main thing is always the main thing. And the main thing in the NFL is the coach, the owner, and the quarterback.
All right. So let's stop it right there. And that's what the man had to say about that. So, and this, we've heard this before, right? We've heard this before from teams before when they talk about stuff like that. We've heard that before. And I have to agree with the man. He said ownership, and that's the order: ownership and the quarterback. Well, Denver has an ownership group that's not going anywhere. They're the richest in the NFL. They're the Walmart group. They're not going anywhere. So they're going to hand over the team to Payton and say, this is your team, coach. Do what you like. We believe in you. Here's the $20 to $25 million. And, of course, the quarterback situation, which I kept pinpointing this, is that Sean Payton looking for a stable quarterback position. And, of course, we said this before the season starts, like, okay, the Saints have the best ownership group in the NFL. They do not meddle in the affairs of the head coach. Whatever the head coach wants, they just give it to him. And that's quite obvious. What happened this past season when we went 7-10 is that Mickey Loomis refused to meddle in the affairs of a coach who was over his head. Dennis Allen was way over his head. Mickey Loomis didn't step in even to fix the quarterback dilemma that happened between him and Jameis Winston. Had he had stepped in and settled the matter and it didn't get to the press, I'm pretty sure the Saints wouldn't have finished 7-10. Some of these games, the Saints offense was totally at fault. A lot of these games, the offense was at fault. Both of the Tampa Bay games when the Saints offense wouldn't score any more points. The Carolina loss at the end of the season, the Saints offense refused to score any points. It's constant drives, one touchdown, one good drive, and several drives of just bull crap, garbage, terrible, back-ass football with dumb play calling, despondent, non-imaginative, tripe garbage. That's how I describe it. I know that's a long way to talk about it, but you got to understand. I sit up here and watched it just like you guys, and we did it on a stream, and it was just pure outright garbage what we watched happen with the Saints offense. They were at fault for a lot of these games, and the reason why in some of these games the defense fell apart is because it held as much as it can held. And the offense just refused to give anything else. They refused to carry their own water. They want the defense to carry the water. And that's just dumb. In some of these games, the San Francisco 49ers game, the Saints offense averaged 20 points a game. If they score 2 touchdowns, 2 measly touchdowns against the 49ers, they beat them 14-13. And I can go on and on and on. So at some point, you have to look at it and say, my goodness, the offense is at fault here, major league. So I say that because the reason why the offense looks like that is because of Sean Payton. Sean Payton ignored for years in the draft. And let me just say this about Albert Breer's commentary before this interview, because this was something I wanted to throw at us that we still in that part where I can do it. Number one is that shows you Breer doesn't know Sean Payton like we know Sean Payton. National view, regional view. Regional view tells you that Sean Payton's skill, because they see him as the end-all, be-all. You put Sean Payton on your team, you're going to the Super Bowl, right? Sean Payton do not want a challenge. That's why he's looking for teams that have a quarterback and an ownership group. Why the ownership group? What's the factors in ownership group? Somebody that don't meddle in what he doing, give him whatever he want. That's the thing. And 2, we got a quarterback because he can't develop a young quarterback on his own. I've been watching Sean Payton for years and been doing the sports coma for years. And I'm telling you that Breer don't even realize that about Sean Payton. See, that goes to show national and regional. Regional, we know Sean Payton can't develop young quarterbacks. That's why you always try to get a veteran that's 4 or 5 years in the NFL that somebody else worked with so that he can teach him his game plan, and then he has that success like what happened with Drew Brees, Teddy Bridgewater, to a degree, Jameis Winston, stuff like that. He cannot develop a young quarterback. For Breer to sit up there and says he has all the picks in the world. Listen, I love the Texans thing because that gives us more draft capital. But realistically speaking, that's not a sound destination for Sean Payton because he don't want that type of challenge. He don't want no challenge of building no team from the ground up. Hell no. If that was the case, he would have stayed in New Orleans. He would have just stayed in New Orleans. If that was the case, he cannot develop young quarterbacks. He can't do it. That's the weakness. That's the kryptonite to the Superman that is perceived Sean Payton to be in the minds of some people. The kryptonite is that he cannot develop young quarterbacks. He can't do it. It is what it is. So at the end of the day, how Breer don't know this because he has a national view and we have a regional view because we have a PhD in Saintology. If anything that falls under the Saints label of the New Orleans Saints, the Great Saint Think Tank and the Sports Coma have a PhD in Saintology. You better believe it, baby. You better believe it. That's how we can sit up here, listen to these guys and counter what they say because they got a national view, which is a national perspective, which is not as in-depth as our perspective because we pay attention and cover this team on a daily to semi-daily basis. We know this squad. We know the leadership. We know everything all around about them. We know it. So at the end of the day, Sean Payton cannot possibly draft. He said, well, I'm looking at Bryce. He should be looking at Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud for what? He can't develop the quarterbacks, and he's not looking for that. So if he go, Denver is always something that's already in his mind entrenched because it's based on everything that he says is Denver. Denver won't meddle. Denver will give him full control, and Denver will pay him the $25 million he's looking for. They already have the veteran quarterback, and he likes Russell Wilson a lot, and Wilson wants him there. So, I mean, what's to look at? Carolina, there'll be a team that you use as leverage to boost them up. Even though if the danger is, like I said before, Peyton could look at Carolina and say, hey, they offer me some of this, such and such. Listen, I'm going to go to Carolina. Then you have to deal with them. And then, of course, you have to make a deal with Carolina for a rival. That's the danger of it because you don't want them in division, which is why I was saying, Mickey, you stupid for that one. You don't offer grant permission to your rival. That's like going back in time, and we got Bill Walsh ready to step away from the San Francisco 49ers, and he got a year left on his contract, and he telling them, listen, I'm going to resign. I won't go somewhere else next year. And then the Saints requesting permission from the 49ers to have Bill Walsh to come in and interview with him. You think the 49ers would grant the Saints that opportunity? Hell no, they wouldn't. Why? Because they smart. I'm not going to turn my team. Listen, and then on top of that, you doing that, and if the danger, and I'm not saying he goes there, but that's still a danger that you got to account for. And if he says Carolina, and he actually likes Carolina, he knows all your weak points. He knows how to destroy you and beat you. He knows everything. How you going, you got him, you going to face him twice a year potentially? That don't make any sense. So Mickey's a fool for this. This is a fool errand, and that's why I said Mickey got to be checked for dementia. Send him to wherever the place Joe go. No, second thought, don't send him where Joe goes, because the guy keeps okaying him. But anyway, that's the danger of this whole thing, man. It's just complete folly upon folly. So anyway, here we go on this one. Next topic here is Vikings have requested to interview Saints coordinator Ryan Nielsen for the Minnesota vacant defensive coordinator job. Here we go. Now, to my knowledge, the Saints have not, there's been no information about whether or not the Saints have granted anybody permission outside. They grant Payton whatever he wants. But as far as the co-coordinators, which is Ryan Nielsen and Coach Richard, none of them, we haven't heard any word on whether or not they've been granted an opportunity to interview with said teams. Now, this will be the second one that have asked for permission to interview Ryan Nielsen. So, teams are looking at getting these guys and bringing them on their squad. Now, it's up to the Saints to pick one of these guys, because it looks like you might lose one if they do grant permission for them. We don't know. We haven't heard that yet. Remember, also, Nielsen was expected to interview with the Falcons. Coach Richard was given an interview request by the Carolina Panthers. So they got people requesting these interviews from our co-coordinators, and I've yet to hear whether or not they have granted permission to allow them to go to these interviews. But if they do, and this is just an assumption, if they do, then you would have to make a call, Dennis Allen, no vision, totally, just can't pick. You got to pick one of these guys to be the defensive coordinator, and obviously it's one of those mentalities like, okay, I can't pick nobody. You both guys, both of y'all finish first. No. Pick a damn coordinator, God damn it. Because it's going to come to a point this year where one of these guys are not going to be here, whether it's Richard or Nielsen. And of course, I think it was Ian Rappaport said that there are more people that's going to be looking at Coach Richard down the line. So at some point, the Saints will have to make a call on who these coordinators, who is it going to be? Is it Ryan Nielsen or is it Coach Richard? So this is just one of the things, one more thing. All right, and of course, just to remind the family members, this is the Saints were more than the first-round pick for Sean Payton. Well, they did saying more. And the reason being, it's like, if we send in Sean Payton, they really got people out there, and I was reading the comment section of this particular article, and they just tearing Sean Payton up, talking about Sean Payton not worth the first-round pick. He even won commission the players to hurt people in the bounty gate. And I'm saying these stupid people don't realize, you idiots, that the bounty gate something was stuff that was thrown out by the NFL. And see, I blame not only ignorant people that believe the media, because that's why the world is in such a disarray with a lot of this political garbage, is because they keep believing what these people telling them, when people know that these people lie all the time. That's all they do is lie, and they create a whole a lane like they're some person that has integrity that you're supposed to listen to. The whole spiel is about how we your trusted news source. I don't trust your ass. I got to validate everything that you say, because I do not trust you, because you have a history of lying and dirtiness and stinkiness and evilness. And I'm just keeping it $1.15. The reason why I say that is because a lot of these people are ignorant of the fact they don't do the research. There is, and whatever the NFL had, they threw it all out, and the NFL even issued a a apology to the to New Orleans and the organization for what happened during Bountygate. They don't even realize that. Matter of fact, when what's his face, Paul Tagliabue, not what's his Goodell, the dog, the stinking trash dog Goodell, did this crap. Paul Tagliabue was brought in and did an investigation himself and determined that it was bull crap and it was not right, and they threw it out and issued an apology to the New Orleans Saints. The media did not cover it the same way they covered Bountygate, which left people with an understanding that the Saints was doing that when most of the teams in the NFL, the players was doing that. And for you to sit up here and put that on the Saints, like that's a Saint thing, you a fool, you stupid, you're immature, you idle, you just a nincompoop if you believe that's simply a Saint thing. That's an NFL thing. Hell, they do that in colleges, man. They do that in college. Let's keep it real and stop pretending for a second. That's the problem with these people. They're just big children that can't go outside their thought process and don't do no real research. They believe everything these people telling them. So I have to constantly lambaste people and tell them that that stuff was thrown out. I even pulled up the original article and covered it on the show. What was it, last year, about the NFL. Maybe it's time for me to take that and put it out and keep putting it out, that was a big pile of malarkey created by a disgruntled employee that created all that nonsense, and they punished the Saints on bad information and no evidence just to stop them from going back the year after the fact and took their people away. They only issued an apology. They never gave the Saints any money back. They didn't give them picks for that. They just left it at that. Paul Tagliabue's interview, his information overturned the entire damn thing. So at the end of the day, they got people in here talking about Sean Payton not worth the first round pick, all this kind of stuff, like your trash ass team or whoever your bullcrap quarterback or coach is on top of the team is worth the first round pick. All these people come from the same rotten circles. They're not exclusively owned from our region or territory. These people come, it's a big pool of people. It's a good old boy circle. That's why the same people keep getting circulated back into the similar jobs. You'll have a guy like Bill Johnson that was down here, the offensive line coach for the Saints, stinking it up, terrible, garbage. Then some kind of way he ends up at LSU. They recycle these guys back into the current pool. It's a closed loop of the same people. And you got to be related to the people in some type of lodge where you highly trusted to break those circles to get inside of that stuff. It's a closed loop, and I'm giving you the game. So anyway, I hope to bust on a spill like that, but I was upset because I'm looking at these trash comments down here blaming Sean Payton for everything except for a wall breaking out in the world. I'm like, what are you talking about? These people are totally out of it. And for people like that, y'all lost, man. They're going to tear your ass up in the near future because it take people that got brain cells that rub together that practice critical thinking, because if you're not a critical thinker, you in trouble. You're going to be out of here lickety split real soon. Let me just tell you something, because that's where it's headed at. You got to have critical thinking to survive in the next 10 to plus years. If you don't have that, be prepared to dig a hole in the ground and get your ass up in it and take whoever that you know that's not practicing, that have that same mentality, take them on there with you, and please spare us of the world of that type of non-thinking. They're going to take care of you lickety split. Just keeping it $1.15. But anyway, this is commonsensical about what's going on with these first round draft picks. It's common sense because the table is set with John Gruden on top of it, because John Gruden was the one that set the Sean Payton deal. That's based on what Gruden got when he went to the Buccaneers. 2 firsts, 2 seconds, and $8 million in cash. I don't expect them to give the Saints any money, but at the end of the day, at least 2 first round draft picks and maybe a second, maybe a third, maybe whatever the case may be. But the table's set at 2 first round draft picks for Sean Payton, who's a Super Bowl winning coach. He's only 59 years of age, coming off of a year where he's totally refreshed and relaxed and ready to get back into coaching. So it is a phenomenal deal if you're the Denver Broncos, because you stink anyway. You've been stinking. You've been stinking for a while, despite the fact that you got some pretty damn good people on your team. You traded a hellified amounts of draft capital to acquire Russell Wilson to get him there. And now you need a coach to uphold what he do. It is a great deal for you. And besides, you got deep pockets with the Walmart group. It makes all the sense in the world. And for us, we would like the Houston Texans deal, but really, truthfully, Sean's not going to go there. He's not going to a team that doesn't have a quarterback, because he destroyed our quarterback situation. He destroyed a Saints situation. It was him. He was the reason why we have the current crop of quarterbacks that we have now. He destroyed the QB position, so he ran from it. You have the ownership group. They're willing to pay him whatever he wants. So why leave? He left because he could not solve the quarterback position after Drew Brees left, despite the fact the Saints had Drew Brees for 16-something odd years, 15 years. And you had him up there on top of the team for all those years, and you couldn't get a quarterback behind him to carry on after he left? You couldn't do it? No, because they don't have the vision. It takes vision to have planning like that. When you was fortunate, you might not ever see that again in the New Orleans Saints building when you have a quarterback for 15, 16 years as a starter. That kind of stuff don't happen. You were very fortunate to have that, and we didn't take advantage of that. Drew Brees been retired for 3 years now. Sean Payton, 1 year after Drew leaves, he talking about leaving. That wasn't hard to tell. That if you think about it, that he was going to leave. Me, I was blindsided by it because I didn't think somebody be foolish enough to leave a situation where they're willing to give you everything. They don't meddle. But the problem was he couldn't solve the QB issue because he's not good at doing young quarterbacks, and he's a backstabber. He lied to Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater was winning games for the Saints. They traded third-round pick to get him, bring him here. Then the next year, he lies to him going into that free agent year when he was supposed to re-up with him, tells him he's going to be the quarterback. Teddy Bridgewater signs on. Then he backs off of that, tells Taysom he's going to be the quarterback. We covered it all here. Then that bridged another trust issue. And then ultimately, when Teddy moved on and got rid of the move to Carolina and they offered them that money, he tried to pursue Teddy, and Teddy said, "Nah, I'm going to Carolina because I gave you guys a deal. I gave you a deal to go here." And then what Teddy Bridgewater then says, Jameis, instead of going to wherever you was going to go, because Jameis would have got more money if he'd had, I think, Miami, and there was another team that was looking at him at the time. Teddy Bridgewater said, "Nah, Jameis, go to New Orleans." And that's how you ended up with Jameis Winston for $1 million the first year. Backstabby ways is why, and he couldn't, doing that kind of stuff. That's where Dennis Allen get it from, by the way. That's where all this happened from, and that's coming from a localized standpoint of looking at the team. They'll never tell you that from a national perspective. They won't give you that particular intricate information. They won't give you that. Backstabby ways is how the quarterback. So he left. You're like, "Man, I can't fix this shit. I'm going to go somewhere where I can find somebody that already did it for me." Well, there you go. There you go. So let's get his quitting ass out of here. We get the picks and move on. So that's the next leg to drop. Anyway, NFL trade rumors. Raiders Derek Carr expected to interest Saints, Commanders, and Jets. This is coming from the Bleacher Report. Rob Goldberg on the scoop. And this is what he's saying, that New Orleans Saints, the Commanders, and the Jets are considered potential landing spots for Las Vegas Raiders quarterback Derek Carr, according to Jeremy Fowler. So he's saying teams, and this is his quote, "Teams I've talked to expect a variation of the Saints, Commanders, and Jets to all inquire." He says, "I'm told some teams have already made some early initial calls to the Raiders about Carr." Carr was benched in the final 2 games of the regular season. He wrote in his farewell post this month that he's looking forward to a new city and a new team. ESPN Adam Schefter reported Saturday that the veteran is expected to be traded this offseason earlier rather than later. So they're looking to get rid of him. Could be prior to the draft to get whatever capital they need going into the draft. Now, what would a trade package look like for a Carr? I don't know. He's 31 years of age, coming off a disappointing 22 season in which he averaged 235 passing yards per game, a steep drop from 21 when he averaged almost 283 yards per game. He got an 86.3 passer rating, ranked just 24th among qualified quarterbacks. The 3-time Pro Bowler has still proved himself in the past and will be a major upgrade for several teams looking to contend in 2023. The Jets finished 7-2 behind a defense that ranked 4th in points allowed, while the offense ranked just 29th in scoring. Replacing Zach Wilson on a full-time basis could help the team evolve offensively. Washington is similarly a qualified defense, 7th in points allowed, 3rd in yards, but Wentz and Taylor Heineke or whatever, whatever you pronounce his name, couldn't do enough at quarterback to get the 8-8-1 team into the playoffs. And the Saints need a full-time fix at the quarterback after Dalton started 14 games in 2022. And another caveat to throw in this about Derek Carr is the fact that this guy was drafted by, you guessed it, your current head coach, if you won't call him that, Dennis Allen. So is this your future quarterback, family? How about that? Is this your future quarterback? Well, could be. You know, a lot of people say, well, Q, do we have our starting quarterback on the team? I don't think so. And Jameis Winston is a guy that was treated so, I mean, it's obviously disrespected Jameis Winston. He benched him even when he was on the injury report. After all that time, he still had him as a third-string quarterback, even when the Saints' offense was stalling out like hell. And he refused to put Jameis in there to create a spark. The entire season, he kept him out. Why would I think that Jameis would put, and he knew he could play and could help the team, and described his benching as, I forgot, but it was something, y'all correct me but we covered it before. Like it hurts like hell or something hurts like, whatever the case may be. Y'all fill in the quote. But why would you come back to a team, number one, where the head coach is a liar, he backstabbed you, then benched you. He violated the principles of taking a player and giving his job away and saying that a player cannot lose his job due to injury. He violated those principles, backstabbed him, and then when Jameis does the thing and outs him to the media, he gets mad at Jameis for outing him to the media and continues to bench Jameis for the entire season, in which I told you he would do that. Told you that. For the whole year, why would he come back to that guy? There's no trust between them guys. So Jameis is out. Taysom's not a real quarterback. He's not a real quarterback. He doesn't know 5 passing plays for the Saints offense to operate as a quarterback. And Andy Dalton probably will be back as a backup because Loomis and Dennis Allen says, Andy did a good job. That's all they said the entire year. Even when he threw 3 interceptions, he did a good job. Andy did a good job. Andy did a good job. Did you look at Andy's stats, Q? Andy had a really good statistics this year, and they totally omit that the fact that a lot of his stats were the stats and stuff that he got that were positive was done in garbage time moments of the Saints' pathetic 7-10 season. They totally omit that. You have to be a person that's there or have a PhD to pinpoint this stuff. This is my squad, and what I'm saying makes them look wrong, but I'm keeping it real. I'm not going to just paint these people like they all angels. I'm going to call them out good and bad and in between. That's what keeping it real mean. Even if they my squad, I'm still going to call them out if they doing foul-ass stuff. Like when they got behind that stuff that happened with the Catholic Church. Who was here holding shows lambasting the Saints for that? Huh? Who was doing that? That's what it is when you tell the people the truth. I got a responsibility to keep it real and tell the truth to the people. Because too many people out there lying to you already. What I look like being in a parade of liars, giving you half-truths. That's why the coma's so popular. Because we loud, we boisterous, and we tell the truth, and we keep it real deal. Now, I might mispronounce some words like y'all do every now and again because I'm not perfect, because y'all know that it's coming straight out of the heart and straight out of my head. I don't read off of teleprompters like a lot of these other people do. But at the same time, you realize that's why we so popular, because we call it like it is, man. And very few are doing that, man. Shout out to those that are. All right, so anyway, this is the Carr situation. We're going over some of the stuff that's happening. There's not too much shaking into the free agent class. So if you look at Carr, and Carr has a nice contract as well, like Q, we don't want no Derek Carr, but the pickings is slim. The pickings is, I'm not calling for Carr, but something tell me, I'm telling y'all word on the street that this dude could probably end up being your guy. It's too much to ignore that he has a connection with Dennis Allen, and their reports saying the Saints could pursue him. They could look at him. And let me see if I can pull up his contract to see what he makes. He makes a lot of money, by the way, family. He got a ridiculous contract, man. Hold on here. Let me see if I can pull this contract up here. He got a ridiculous contract with the Raiders. They gave him a lot of money to be the quarterback. And let's see. Yeah, that's ridiculous. Look at this. Look, just give y'all some numbers because we like to hear people when they sit up here and talk about Carr and what Carr could do. Hold on, let me shrink this here for you. All right, so anyway, this is Carr's contract according to Sport Track. People say, well, Q, let's get this guy, and then you have to look at the numbers. Yeah, I remember put your general manager hat on. Sometimes people be yelling for all this stuff and they don't be doing the information. They'll be looking at the numbers to see if it works. Now, right now, currently, this dude got, 3 years this year, including 23, 24, and 25. He's under contract. So whatever you do that you want from this guy, you got to trade for him. Signed a 3-year deal worth $121.5. That's his money. Got $7.5 million with all that. Got $65.2 million guaranteed contract. Now, if you want his services for 2023, guess how much? He had $32.9 million per season. You see that? This dude sitting up here at you might as well say 33 million. Let's just round off and make it really easy. So if you want Derek Carr, 32 years of age this year, and 33 and 34, and he plays up to 34, and it's an escalating contract. It don't go down in value. It escalates in value the older he gets. So you want him, you gonna have to trade for him, and then on top of that, you got to pay the $33 million this year, and then it goes up to $42 million and 24, and then $42 million and 25. So you got a 32, 33, and finally a 34-year-old quarterback that you're playing $40 million to in this thing. And of course, the Saints are foolish enough that if they do take him, what they'll do is restructure the first year of his contract and kick it into 4 phantom years on the back of 26, 27, 28, 29. So it's transparent if they want him. So they'll take him and then break his contract down and then probably free up, at least half of the contract. Might be less than that. You might owe him like $5 million in that first year and break it down and then create phantom years in the contract and kick on. But is he really worth that? But being that you stabbed Jameis Winston in his back and you paid $15 million for Jameis this year, the Saints owe Jameis $28 million. This year and next year, you break the agreement according to Sport Track. There's an option in between. I think it's a team option. They don't stipulate if it's a player or team. More than likely, it's a team option because Jameis would elect to break out of the deal. But if they cut bait from Jameis this year, they only owe him $15 million for what? 3 games? So Tom Benson, God rest his soul, would never have allowed this to happen. He would never have allowed Dennis Allen to bench Jameis Winston for all that time and then at the end of the year pay him $15 million and then allow Andy Dalton, a backup, to reach $1 million incentive clause. Mickey Loomis done lost his goddamn mind. He done lost his mind. The ghost of Tom Benson is rising up out of his grave looking for Loomis to knock the piss out of him for doing that to this team. You've got to justify the money. You don't just give guys $15 and $28 million and then say, okay, we're going to bench you and leave it in the hands of the coach. The coach is an idiot here. So if Mickey Loomis is like, hold on, and Jameis is coming to me and saying Dennis won't play me because whatever, and then Mickey Loomis, who am paying you from the Saints vault, from the great Saint thing, taking Who Dat Nation, all that money, you have to justify why he's not playing. Didn't Loomis do that? Loomis ain't do a damn thing. He let that whole situation go bad. You can't tell me that Jameis Winston didn't go to Mickey Loomis first before he went to the press. That's my point on the thing with everything that happened with him going to the reporters to tell him that he lied or he deceived him, as his words. You can't tell me he ain't go to Loomis first. And Loomis should have fixed it right then and there and called Allen in his office and Jameis in his office and say, listen, Dennis Allen, I don't know what you got going on here, but you got to play Jameis. He's our team captain. We owe him $15 million this year, and we got money tied up into him in the future. When it's all said and done, it's a $28 million deal over the next 2 seasons with Jameis Winston. So you got to tell me, is he healthy enough to play? Well, I don't think so. Well, let me ask the coaching staff, the medical staff, then is he on the injury reports? No, he's not on the injury report, which means he's good to go then. Let's play him. Let's see what he can do. That would have been the end of it. Just like what happened with Terry Fontenot in Atlanta, where Arthur Smith refused to put Fitter in there, Fittler in there, whatever his name is, Fitter. Put him in there. Ritter, I'm sorry, I said Fitter. Ritter, when Arthur Smith didn't want to go with Ritter, he wanted to keep Marcus Mariota playing, but Mariota wasn't doing nothing. People were getting antsy, and Fontenot had a discussion. Next thing you know, Ritter is your guy. So Ritter's in there, and then Mariota mysteriously goes on the injury list. See, that was a smart general manager getting involved in the play, because coaches get short-sighted because they're at the ground level. The administrators sit on top so they can look down and see the larger picture. When the coach is too caught into it, he looking at the smaller picture. That's why he the general manager. That's why he sits on top of the team, because he has a grander vision and an understanding of what needs to happen. When people get penciled in, because it happens to all of us. Sometimes we step there and we look at one portion of the picture, and a guy on top said, "Now hold on, you missing all this around here? What you doing? What you missing? Oh yeah, you're right. I'm missing all that." Yes. So a good GM steps in. Mickey Loomis allowed this to fall apart. So I blame him a lot of the stuff that happened this season, because he's going to sit up there and say it's disappointing. You ain't do a damn thing. Even when people was complaining to you to do something, you set up on your ass and ain't do nothing about it. You still slow moving, no plans, making dumb evaluations. How you justify keeping Dennis Allen and Pete Carmichael when both of those men were directly responsible for the 7-10 season? So I tell you what, Loomis, you going to better wait just like they're going to better wait. You going to better wait, because you attaching your name to these people, and they are the problems. You're going to fire Dan Rouchard to make him the sacrificial guy, and then keep Carmichael at his current position. You don't even demote him? You know, you can at least say Carmichael comes back, but he's demoted from the offensive coordinator position. We'll make Ronald Curry the guy, or we'll bring somebody new in. You don't even do that. So anyway, this is the numbers right here on Carr. People pushing Derek Carr at us. Are you ready to play $33 million for this guy, and then $42 million the next year, and then 42 again, 41 in the final year when he's 34 years old? I know the Saints love old ass quarterbacks. We kept one till he was damn near 40 years age, which you ain't never supposed to do that. There's too many drafts happening, too many good players coming out. We know, because we keep getting tore up by them. We get tore up by the Jalen Hurts and all these other guys that we passed on. We get tore up by them. We can't even defend them. It's terrible. So anyway, let me get ready to end the stream, man. I'm just dropping that on y'all. But anyway, let's redo this thing. We first covered Sean Payton's Panther interview. That's rescheduled to on Monday. We'll come back and have some more information on that when the time is. Like I said, the overwhelming thought process in circles is that he either takes the Broncos job or he goes back to Fox. I don't think Carolina is a team that he could be serious about. But then again, maybe they offer him something that they don't have. Maybe they offer him some general manager position. Maybe they do something. You never know. They know they're trailing behind Denver, so they got to up the ante to get them in. Plus, they got to up the ante anyway, because they're a rival. You can't ask for the same thing from Denver that you asking for Carolina. They got to give you more, because the reality that they're in the same division with you, which is stupid that you would allow him to interview with the team that's in a division. Mickey Loomis is losing his mind. But anyway, then we listen to this article right here, this interview from the Dan Patrick Show with Albert Breer, saying that he thinks he'll go back to whatchamacallit, and I don't agree with too much of nothing what he talking about. I don't know what he talking about. And of course, we hear from the former executive and lead circles that believe that Denver is the team and that he'll end up there. I like his analysis. He said some great stuff. We covered the fact that the Vikings requested to interview co-coordinator Ryan Nielsen. That makes him and the Falcons interested. We've yet to be notified whether or not the Saints have already issued permission for Ryan Nielsen and Coach Chris Richard permission to interview for potential coordinator positions elsewhere. That's yet to be determined. The only thing we know is that they've granted, interviews for Sean Payton. No word on these other ones. So I guess that'll be forthcoming. And of course, we talked about the Saints want multiple first-round draft picks for Sean Payton. That's not even, that's like elementary. You know you're going to do that. And of course, we talk about the relation between Derek Carr and Dennis Allen, the fact that the Saints are a team that inquired about him, that he could be potentially traded to. You look at the current crop of quarterbacks in his free agency class. Lamar Jackson is not a guy that's going to be here. Neither is Aaron Rodgers. So the Saints are not going to get Aaron Rodgers or Lamar Jackson. Those guys are going to stay put where they are. Lamar is going to ultimately be signed to a long-range deal, which gives Derek Carr, a guy that puts him out there as a guy that the Saints could look at. Jacoby Brissett and all these other backup-ass quarterbacks are also be available in the market, but that do not make you a playoff team. Then, of course, do the Saints hitch their little red wagons to a draft quarterback? Dennis Allen, feeling all the pressure that he does, do he put his future in the hands of a quarterback? Then again, the Saints don't have a first-round draft pick, and when they finally do enter the draft in the second round, will they pick up a quarterback like Hendon Hooker? We don't know. Remember, you have a team with no vision and a coach with no vision, a GM with no vision, which means these people are liable to go anywhere, especially if they're talking and inquiring about what it'll take to get a guy like Carr with 3 years remaining on his current deal, making over $34 million per season going into the next 3 years. Very intriguing and interesting all at the same time. We're just keeping it $1.15. All right. So anyway, let me do a little quick Q&A with the family members before we cut out of here. I'm going to be, I'll stay with you for another 20 minutes or so. We got the NBA, the Pelicans versus the Heat live scoreboard that'll be popping off at 2:30 as the Pels get ready for the Miami Heat. They're currently on the 3-game slide. I think that'll more than likely be a loss unless they can step the game up and play a full game. We'll see how it all ends. But anyway, let me get a little Q&A from you guys. Shout out to the fam, man. Hit the like button if you hadn't hit it, man. 160 plus of us in the building. If you hadn't hit the like button, please feel free to hit the like button and share the show on your social media feed. We up in this thing. All right. Let's keep it going. Saints for Life say even with Payton, he was doing okay. It takes time. Dennis Allen never wanted Winston, so let's be honest. Watson was the target, right? Not Winston. He was the backup plan if you couldn't get it. And it definitely showed the first chance they had to go away from Jameis. And when Jameis was playing, and then people, listen, I didn't want Jameis Winston in here originally, but over the 3 years, Jameis Winston didn't come here as a starter. And I remember how history go. I don't sugarcoat or romanticize things. I'm part historian. So when he first came in here, he came in here with $1 million contract, remember? He worked as a backup. He started as a third-string quarterback, and he worked his way up to become the starter. He earned his contract, which I can give him a lot of respect. And he earned the team's respect because he went through injury. He had to fight his way back. He stayed positive. He cleaned up all the shenanigans. He did everything positive, and he earned the job, right? He got the big contract, which you're supposed to lend on that side. So whoever the highest paid player is, that should be your starter there. So, but that wasn't the case. And it really showed, like when he started playing those first several games, he got hurt that first game, got hurt that second game. And these were injuries that were compounded injuries built on top of the stuff that he was rehabbing from the year before. So when he went out there, you could see that he was hurting, grimacing all in his face, couldn't make the play. And really the Saints took a long time to pull the plug on him. So like, you know what, let's just set Jameis down for about a month, maybe a month and a half, let him kind of get healthy and we go back to him. And Dennis Allen played him too long hurt. And then when he struggled in these games and then they let him down, he was supposed to, when he was able and he was clear, they was supposed to bring him back according to the money. He wasn't listed on any injury report, after a certain point, which means the medical staff seen him as a guy that could play in these games. Didn't happen. Dennis Allen's call. So the game, like we watched the Atlanta game, the first one, which was one of my favorite games. My favorite game of the season was the Atlanta win because they came from behind and scored all those touchdowns. Michael Thomas and Jameis Winston towed the Atlanta Falcons up. He had like 3 touchdowns in that game? Like what was it? Like 3 touchdowns or something like that, Thomas. And people like, Q, we got to get rid of him. No, if he's healthy, this is the guy you get. if he's healthy, this dude by himself, him and Jameis, tore the Falcons up and took that game from them. So I can make a divide here and say in my hand that you have Jameis Winston, who was playing through injuries, and it was only after he went in the blue tent and get a pain shot in his back, that he started playing like a man possessed. Up until that point, you could see him grimacing. He wasn't making the throws. He was out there looking all terrible. When they gave him that shot, that pain went away and he was able to perform. You see? And that right there showed me, was that just the one situation? Like, nah, man, that was the potential that the offense could realize if you had the guy healthy there. So what happened after that, you seen he got that injury there, and then the next game he got another injury, and then next thing you know, everything started to kind of fall away. But at that point, Dennis Allen should say, you know what, let me pull him. But once again, you got a guy that don't recognize obvious and clear things right in his damn face. And I don't know how he didn't recognize that. It takes a person with just two brain cells to rub together and witnessing the player. How you watch this guy practice every day and don't see that he's struggling because he got pain issues and injury issues, and that you should sit him down and then bring him back at a later date once he looks better and he feels better. How you don't see that? This a guy with no vision, just stupid, just sits up there and looks but don't see anything. And we gonna play better, and that's just a pound, just tripping over stuff that's crippling the team, doesn't do anything about it. Just completely blind, simply blind, willfully, ignorantly blind coach. Just totally blind about the things that are wrong with this team. This is not astrophysics that required Neil deGrasse Tyson to come in and assist you with. This is goddamn football, man. This is stuff that children play with. That children play, that a man is playing a grown-ass child. These grown-ass men is playing a children's game, man. This ain't complicated. This ain't quantum physics or astrophysics. This is football. It takes somebody with two brain cells and a will to want to find out what is wrong, and not only that, to fix it. I refuse to let them overcomplicate football, man. I refuse to let you overcomplicate it. It's not complicated. Cut it out. It's just these people are blind, man. I'm telling you, they're blind. He was slow moving Jameis out of there and didn't bring him back for the rest of the season. Now, this is my team I'm talking about now. It's my damn team I'm talking about. All right, let's get some more questions, fam. I'm going to get on out of here at 2025, man. 225. Y'all throw y'all questions. I'm going to do my best to answer them. All right, Dwayne says Jameis may still be here. According to inside sources, the team medical team was protecting him from himself. They knew he would play regardless of pain. At a certain point, I give you that, Dwayne. At a certain point, it was, and it was Dennis Allen's call because he didn't show up on the injury. And that's the thing. If he's injured, why wasn't he on the injury report after what, week 9 or 10? If you go back and look at the injury reports, if you can, or just watch the show, because we had him, Jameis Winston disappeared off the injury list, and he was an active player on the team. So how do you explain that? The medical staff wasn't standing in his way. They obviously felt that if he could be activated to play, why wasn't he playing? And once again, he was a team captain, and the Saints was paying the man $15 million this year, and then $28 million overall. Whether they decided he was their quarterback or not, they still committed $20+ million to him. So the money has to be justified no matter how you look at it. So I agree with you to a point, my brother. But how do you explain the fact that he wasn't on that, and that was Dennis Allen? Dennis Allen made Andy Dalton his guy. Eric says, Q, do you think they would bring in Bridgewater to be the bridge quarterback? I would say no to that, bro. I mean, and even though we know Sean Payton's gone, he's gone, but I don't know, bro. I think Teddy Bridgewater wouldn't be a good bridge quarterback for the Saints. We tried that. I think the Saints really looking at Carr. That's the cold-blooded part about it. Saints for Life says Dan Rochelle got screwed. How you fire him as the running backs coach like he was control of the offense? That's a head-scratcher. Rochelle, when he was our O-line coach, has some of the best. I know I was saying that, bro. We know about Dan Rochelle. You're 1,000% right, Saints for Life. And he says, coach has some of the best O-lines in the NFL. Why he moved from there? Dumb. Well, they needed a sacrificial lamb coach, and he was the guy. That's the bottom line, because it don't make no sense for you. Rashard, listen, let me tell you how versatile Dan Ruschard was. He was the offensive line coach. He was the tight ends coach. He was the running backs coach. How do you get a guy with that amount of versatility and put him in the street? He's a chameleon, and he was good at each one of those positions. You moved him wherever you needed him. He was that versatile. You don't give up versatile coaches like that unless he was in there saying to these guys, listen, man, this is a bunch of BS. We need to do this. We need to do that. And Dennis Allen said, oh, we ain't going to rock the boat. Don't rock the boat, baby. Don't rock the boat. And Ruschard was rocking the boat. Nobody else rocking the boat because nobody else got the X. How is he the guy that gets canned? And Pete Carmichael ran one of the worst offenses we ever seen. Was responsible for multitude of different losses. Mickey Loomis doing these evaluations saying we evaluating these guys, Q. But how you evaluate Ruschard, and my evaluation of Ruschard is I gave him a high mark. He shouldn't have been fired. But they had to fire somebody, and he was the sacrificial lamb so that they can say that they fired somebody. You see? Because the people you should have fired was A, your garbage coach, and B, your bullcrap coordinator, and then keep these guys at their current positions. There were no demotions going on. So that was a bullcrap coaching fire to try to appease you, which you have too much sense for. The Great Saint Think Tank is far too smart for milquetoast garbage like what they trying to do to say, see, we're doing something here, Q. Q, listen, I know you guys, well, goddamn, you guys are hard to please. You guys are hard to please. I mean, we can't do nothing to please you guys. Oh, yeah, you can win. Be smart. Don't try to BS us, man. Don't you understand? We understand what BS is. And you strumming yourself up with your own words. You tripping yourself up. Everything you say, we play it and we have it here recorded, and we use your own words against you. We use your own words against you. I said that you didn't have a plan, and then you verified it. Well, we have to think about it when we get into the play. You understand, we got to think about it, man. We got to formulate a plan. Hold on, you're going to formulate a plan. You're a week into the offseason. You're going into 2 weeks, and you're about to formulate an off-season plan for the offseason that you're now two and some odd weeks into? Oh, yeah. Well, hell, I ain't going to be doing that right now, Q. God damn it. I just got back from Cabo. I was down there on the beach combing my hair. I was having a great time till I heard you guys. I don't know what you got. Y'all, hell, listen, you guys got to bug up your butt. I'm doing pretty damn good, to be honest. Man, so like I said, people don't like that because they expect you to be about the business of football, handling business the correct way. We know what a responsible organization does, and this is not a responsible organization. This is an old dinosaur plotting movement, entitled organization that has been living high off the hog for many years now, and it's time for them to get their issue because they're not going to self-change. It's up to you to do that. Because these people are not even listening, but they will listen once they check them they check them records. They check them transactions and say, they're not buying any tickets. What the hell is going on? Oh, I blame that goddamn Big Q and that Great Saint Think Tank. I'll blame that. That's the problem. That's the problem. So it's not Dennis Allen and Pete Carmichael with all the losing. That's why the people mad at you, Mickey. Oh, no. It's the Great Saint Tank and Big Q. Oh, no, he's sitting up there talking about advertising economic boycotts against us. God damn it. We can't allow that to happen. Well, Mickey, but what if you just, demoted Pete Carmichael and fix that? Maybe they'll listen to what you're saying. Well, we ain't going to do that. Oh, well, hell no, we're not going to do that. We're just going to blame them for something because, hell, let's just blame them. It was injuries. Oh, why the team failed, Mickey? Oh, injuries. Oh, okay, so the team went 7-10 because, injuries. Okay, so what you gonna tell the Who Dat Nation when people start asking questions about you firing Dan Ruschard when Ruschard wasn't a problem? It was actually the offensive coordinator who was totally stupid, back ass, trifling, a total alpha B. He's a B. He's a B, a beta B, and just totally looked like a mouse. The other guy looks like a rat. How do you explain that your head coach looks like a rat and that your offensive coordinator looks like a mouse? Well, let me tell you something. First of all, let me tell you something. That's pretty weird that you say that. You asked me that question. Number one is, Dennis Allen does look like a rat, and Pete Carmichael does look like a mouse. And hey, my name is Mickey. When I grew up, and I went to school, they called me Mickey Mouse Loomis. So I mean, can't make this up, man. You can't make this up. You can't make this up. Dude.
Well, listen. Yeah, Dennis Allen does look like a rat. Pete Carmichael does look like a mouse. And when I was a kid, they called me Mickey Mouse Maloomas.
Just one big stinking rat family, man. Bunch of ratatouilles, man. Oh man, that's terrible. All right, so anyway, man, Willie says, "Who that nation? You think our Saints should take a look at Anthony Richardson from Florida as our new franchise QB? He reminds me of Cam Newton. That guy is really interesting. He's definitely a strong, tough quarterback. He still got a lot of developing to do, bro. And probably be a guy that a lot of people look at like in the third round or maybe the second round. Thank you, Willie. All right, what's up, brother Randolph? He says he sustained a foot injury in the third quarter of Tampa, then you throw him out of the game against Carolina. That's right. What's up, Randolph? Good to see you, my boy. Let's see. Yeah, any questions? What else y'all got here for me? All right, Randolph says, Q, as we found out Friday, he knew Jameis was hurt, but was more concerned about his job than what was best for the player and team. He said, we were told he purposefully played Jameis week 3. Okay, there you go. All right, thank you, bro, for that. Ant-Man says, we can go back and forth. My brother, okay, they're just commentating. Why didn't we fire Rizzy? Great question, L-Dub. L-Dub, why didn't they fire Darren Rizzy is the special teams coach? You can't say that you did a real evaluation of the team and not fire Darren Rizzy, who's the current special teams coach. He stinks. All right, now Darren Rizzy had it going on when he was with the Miami Dolphins, but whatever he had there is not translating here. He cannot, listen to me on this, and I've been adamant about this special team stuff. Y'all put one in the chat if you heard me all season long say that the Saints, cannot block. They cannot set up blocking for their kick returners, whether it was Deontay Harris-Harty or Rashid Shaheed, or two phenomenal kick returners and punt returners. The special teams unit could not set up blocking to allow them to return punts all season long. The returners would get tackled by 2 or 3, and in some cases, 4 guys. Put 1, if you heard me saying that, season, all damn season long. Watching the same crap happens from the special teams coach. How do you evaluate coaches and not fire Darren Rizzy? How do you not fire him? And then at least put Phil Galliano, who's the assistant a special teams coach, as the new guy. Darren Rizzy should be fired, man. He should be fired. He can't even teach them to block. How could you not teach these guys to block for explosive kick returners? Look at all the damn ones. You ain't doing no real evaluations, bro. You're not doing any real evaluations unless you're doing that. You're not doing it. So it's just crazy, man. All right, so yeah, a good one, L-Dub. Why wasn't he fired? Absolutely. GM Kev says the Colts fired Frank Reich after he went to multiple playoff appearances. DA never been down. Listen, Frank Reich wasn't Sean Payton's boy. Okay, let's get that understand. Frank Reich is his own man. He don't have any pipe or any connection to the Saints. Because had he been the guy, as Sean Payton says, that's the guy, Loomis would have hired him. Are we getting this yet? Are we getting this stuff yet? Are we getting it yet? Are we getting it yet? Are we getting it yet? How is Dennis Allen over the team and not Flores, who's a way better coach than this guy? Better motivator, better communicator. Any other, take one. The really good one is Doug Peterson, who was the first guy to hire, the head coach that came in here, Doug Peterson, interviewed for the job. The first one the Saints interviewed. Takes the Jags on into the playoffs. They get a playoff victory. You see? First one. How did he not get the job? Bieniemy, 8 hours. I got to sit with your ass for 8 hours? And the best you offer me is an offensive coordinator job under Dennis Allen? Are we getting it now that the reason why Dennis Allen got this job is because of Sean Payton. No, we getting this now. I've been saying it now. Put one in the chest. See, I got to keep doing this because some people might be watching the show for the first time. But for the people that have been watching it for years, they've heard me over and over say the same stuff about what's happening with this team and how Dennis Allen got this job. When Dennis Allen can go interview for every coaching position that's open in this current NFL cycle and not get a head coaching job except for New Orleans. Why? Because the Saints got told he got the job because of Sean Payton. Sean Payton told Mickey Loomis that he wants him to be the coach, and guess who gets hired to coach? Dennis Allen. It all goes back to Sean Payton because Mickey Loomis don't have a brain of his own. All he does is listen to Sean Payton. That's all he do. Over the last 16 years, that's all he do is listen to Sean Payton. That's how he got the job. He don't have any qualifications for this job. He don't. And then the really crazy part is, I'm gonna say this again. How don't we know what Dennis Allen's contract is? And I ain't talking about no crap about what potentially is or some ghost figure. I want to know exactly what his contract is, how much they paying him per year. I don't want to hear estimations or how many years it is, because you don't know because they haven't released it, and whatever they leak cannot be verified. So what is exactly the years? What is exactly how much they paying the man? And why exactly are they holding that secret and they haven't released his contract details to the public? Why not? Why not? That could explain why they didn't fire him after 1 year. Could explain a lot if you don't know exactly what it is. So at the end of the day, man, some real bull crap going on right here. Eric says, haven't you noticed, Q, since they made the decision to keep Pete, they have suddenly gone quiet? Mickey Loomis, we've proven that he's full of garbage, man. Mickey Loomis not doing evaluations, not knowing who the players are, and then does evaluations and fire Dan Rouchard, your most versatile coach, but keeps Carmichael and Dennis Allen, the big problems of the team. Oh, you're doing some great evaluation, Mickey. Keep it up. Well, thank you, Q. Oh. Thank you. Thank you very much, Q. That's the first compliment you gave me in a while. I'll take it. All right, man. It's just sad, man. All right. Any more questions? Let's keep this going, man. Any more questions? Give me a question, family. Let's see. Oh, it jumped. I was about to read one by my brother Randolph. It jumped on me. Shout out to Said Gaming, Kimberly, Is Poppy 504, Christopher, Greg Hines, L Dub, brother Tori. I see you, bro. Inevitable. Carla, Molly Mall, all you guys, man. Miscellaneous Mail. Jeremy says, Q, all this seems really strange and all something funny is going on. Ain't no doubt about it, brother. It's something stinking going on in the building, right? Something stinking going on, bro. We thought these people had it together, man, and all of a sudden you see it's a bunch of BS, don't you? How you getting? I'm just asking common sense. I'm not putting nothing in these guys' mouth. Everything that they're giving us is what they said it is. You know, no evaluations, and then when you do evaluations, you firing the wrong coaches. Why? How did Rizzy make it? How did Dennis Allen make it? How did Pete Carmichael make it? None of them get demotions, but Rouchard gets fired. Why? I would love to know the next press conference comes. Why did Rouchard get it and not the rest of these guys? That'll be really interesting to find out what's going on with that. Hemisphere said they already made the decision on hiring DA way back. That's exactly right, my friend. That's why you don't need an evaluation to fire somebody that deserves to be fired, because number one, and I've been saying this for a long time, put one in the chat if you heard this one. This great classic hit. Number one, that Dennis Allen, the Saints don't want to fire Dennis Allen, not because of loyalty, because they don't want to break his contract, because it costs money to break his contract, number one. Number two, it costs even more money to hire a coach to do what he was supposed to do initially. The Saints don't want to go on back-to-back years of going into the coaching cycle and look for another coach, because they're entitled, they're old, and they're slow, and they're trifling, and they're lazy after sitting up for 16 years with Sean Payton as their coach. They don't want to go in back-to-back hiring cycles to talk to people. They would rather lazily stick with Dennis Allen because it benefits them more so than it benefits you. This is the reality. So look, all them ones. See, we do this. This is what we do here in this place, man. That's what we do. We keep it real, man. All right, Inevitable says, that's cool right there. Grandkids keep you on your toes. Okay, he talking. Hemisis said, but Q, Mickey, and SP is good friends. I know.
You're like, oh, Sean's my friend.
Oh, no, Sean's not your friend, Mickey. He's not your friend anymore. He's going to be a rival, and you need to treat him accordingly. You don't listen to you tell him to hire. You go out and hire the right man for the job. And you mean to tell me they have Brian Flores and Eric Bieniemy out there, and we end up with Dennis Allen, bro? Dennis Allen could be if you wanted him that bad, you could have just had the next coach who you brung on to keep him on as a coordinator, because that's about as good as he is going to get for you if you really wanted him that bad. But how dare you ask Eric Bieniemy, whose offense drives the Kansas City Chiefs, to be an offensive coordinator under Dennis Allen? He probably punched the shit out of Mickey Loomis after he asked him that. Oh, you don't punch Mickey Loomis, you just backhand his ass. You probably backhand, get your
Oh, why you do that? Oh, that hurt.
You know, I mean, it's just ridiculous, man. Ridiculous, man. All right, Marlon Moss says, even we get a young QB, will be like Justin Fields in Chicago. You won't realize it here. You know, it's just crazy, man. It's crazy. It's crazy, but at the end of the day, we'll see exactly how it pans out, because it don't make sense, and they keep making moves that don't make sense. You fire a coach that's your more versatile coach. You don't fire the guys as the problems. You did your evaluations. That's the best you can come up with?
Well, these guys are good coaches. They just had an off year.
No. And then once again, that's an indictment on Dennis Allen, is that you had these same coaches for years on years. They work under Sean Payton, but not under Dennis Allen. Who's really the problem? The same coaches now. Let's look at this in time frame. You got the same coaches, the same damn coaches that worked under Sean Payton, but they don't work under Dennis Allen. What's really going on? Think about it that way. All right, anyway, man, we're going to get ready to get out of here. Greg says, bring back Haslett at this point. All right. Hemisphere said, I'm hearing reports from several sources from Nolans. They're going to put DA on a very short leash. Yeah, they got no point. They got no choice but to keep him on a short leash. The Saints I'm telling you how this is going to play in the upcoming season. They're going to realize the ticket prices is going down. The ticket prices are not going to be what they were. They're going to realize this. They're going to understand people not going to be in the dome like they were. People are not going to be attending events like they were. And they're going to understand why, because we're going to be telling them why. So, yes, he's on a short leash. But not only him, let's put Mickey Loomis on that short leash too. Because let's make him remember. See, we can't let none of them make it. He tied himself to Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen goes down. He goes down with him. He goes down with him because he should have made the change the year before and saved the team with the window. So you can't jeopardize the window that you have, because you got players like Cam Jordan and DeMario Davis on here. They're not going to be with you forever. You got a window. You can't flim-flam around with a guy you know ain't the right man. You got to get him out of there and get the right guy there. So you wasting time with these time-wasting moves. This is not going to work, because the man don't have what it takes to be a successful head coach in this NFL. He doesn't have it. He doesn't have it. He doesn't have it. He doesn't have it. He can't motivate. He's not a good communicator. He's known to be a backstabber. He won't make it. He can't be trusted to run your team. He's not experienced enough as a head coach. He doesn't have the attributes needed to be a successful head coach. And giving him an extra year with more pressure on him will not help him any better, especially when you alienated your starting quarterback and you got to go find another quarterback to teach that too when you had one that been here for 3 years. The closest or the fastest road to success is to work with some of the people that you already have. So it's just Mickey Loomis, we're going to tie your little red wagon to him too. So you on the timeline too. We're not going to forget that one step of the way. You are tied to Dennis Allen. When he goes down, you going with him. You going with him. This was your call to do this, to make this nepotistic hire and hiring a guy because Sean Payton told you ain't going to sit up here and tell us that you hired him. I've been interviewing him for 14 years, Q. No. You hired this guy because Sean Payton told you to. That's what it went. That's what happened. And now that he's failing, you refuse to fire him. He deserves to be fired. and this offensive coordinator, instead of making the moves that's supposed to work, you ignore that because it's easier for you and the Saints and Gale to keep that money that you would pay him to get him out of here and to hire another coach. You're going to hold on to that money and then put all that on the Who Dat Nation to watch this tragic brand of football that a non-disciplined, foolish, and non-communicative, non-motivating ass coach will bring you over the next year. So you about wasting time in the effort of keeping money in hand. So we're going to make you pay for that. You won't have the money that you covet because we're going to boycott you. Just letting you know, I've been calling it all season. We're going to boycott you, and you're not going to get the type of money you think you're going to pull from that dome. That's the first wave. The second wave is we're going to work together to pull those prices down in that dome too. You're not going to be charging people them stupid stadium prices for all that theater food you got up in there. That's worse than going to the movie theaters, going to the Superdome to watch a game. That's ridiculous. That food and what you selling on there costs way too much money, man. We spend hundreds of $millions on this team, and you're not going to gouge the Who Dat Nation anymore. So that's the next thing we're going to do, and then there'll be other waves of financial responsibility that we're going to use once we implement power on this first stage to change, to traditionally and fundamentally change the entire way how interaction between a family base and a team is supposed to go. And ultimately, the ultimate level is eventually that we can be able to get payments from the Saints from profits that they're making off the team, that it goes back into your pockets because you funded their private enterprises through utilizing public stadium and arenas for them to max profit out, and we get nothing out of it. We get charged high stadium prices, you get charged places to park, and charged doubly on this stuff that they get made overseas somewhere for super cheap, probably from people that's slaves. We got all this going on, and we paying top dollar. And fans, I'm telling you, fans are not going to change this. Fans ain't gonna do shit. It's gonna be you, the guys and gals with brains that understand that true change happens at your level, and then it goes to the rest of it. So this is an exercise in discipline, economic discipline from the Who Dat Nation, and everybody will use your example how they whip their teams together. Watch. That's how I go. Anyway, with that being said, I'm going to ask the one question that I'm going to get out on it. Hemisphere says, Q, if they end up firing DA during the season, who do you see them promoting the interim? I say Coach Richard if he's still here. If Coach Richard is here, let him have the job for the interim year. Let him have the job because he is not a B. He's an A. He's an alpha. He's a guy that explains stuff. If you ever listen to him, we played several interviews from Coach Chris Richard. If he's still on the team, he should be the guy that interim. Why? Because he knows offenses, because he's a defense that sets up. He has a good track record. He's a guy that did some positive stuff in terms of how he operates with the team. You checking yourself out?
Yes.
My son. All right, so the reality is he's a guy that has the resume to do what he's supposed to do. You get what I'm saying? And I think that he'll make a good interim coach just like Wilkes did with Carolina. He's a disciplined guy and people respect him. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. All right, so with that being said, fam, at some point, and we know they're not great at doing anything in vision, so I don't see vision plans from the Saints because they right now they're entitled. This is what an entitled, big, fat, trifling team is. I mean, they sitting on top of a pile of money, and they think every move they make will be a move made in gold, and they can't see the folly in their own ways. They're just going to ignore you. You can't ignore people that's funding you, partner. You can't ignore them. You can't ignore us. We'll ignore your ass. And then once the money stops flowing, then that's the only thing they respect. And sorry, it has to be that way. But maybe next time, Saints, maybe you need to start hiring or set up a department within your organization that keep their ear to the street. And listening to people like me and others like Randolph and the rest of them, Till and the rest of the brothers out there hooded. Listen to these people because they know the team, they know what time it is, and they're giving you the real for free. So if they were smart, they would have a relationship with people like that so that they know what time it is, man, to see if whatever moves you're making, are they happy with such moves? As opposed to making these moves like you know what you're doing when you're not doing the damn thing but screwing up. So we know what we gonna do. Keep our money in our own goddamn pocket. All right, so anyway, with that being said, let me get on out of that. I appreciate you guys for doing it. Shout out to you. Daron says, Big Q, do other Saints YouTubers talk about changes on their channel? Yeah, they got a bunch of them. I just named a bunch of them. Like I said, the Great Saint Think Tank been hitting at it for a long time, but we got a lot of great people, man, that's out there handling the work. And for people that's listening, I'm gonna tell you to go subscribe to their channel. Go subscribe to Keeping It Real, the Who That channel by my brother Randolph. Go check him out. Hoodie Jew, check out Hoodie. Subscribe to his stuff. Nola Bros with my little brother Teal. Check him out. Listen to these people, man, and join their stuff. It's several others, man, that escape my mind right now because there's a bunch of them. But these are the people right here that'll help do some fantastic things. Saints need to understand that. You need to listen to these people because you obviously don't know what the hell you're doing. You need to listen to these people because you don't have to hire them as analysts. They're telling you anything, kissing your ass for a check. These people, this is their squad, and they want to see their squad succeed. You need to start doing stuff like that. That's the new level of being interactive with the people that's funding your stinking ass. Pardon my French. Anyway, with that being said, I'm out of here. I appreciate you guys. Do me a service before you go. If you hadn't hit the like button, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the share button, and share the Coma on your social media feed. Don't matter where it is. Instagram, Facebook, whatever. Do me that favor. It's free. It helps out the stream. I appreciate it. You know, check out the Pro Shop. All the merch, hundreds of products available at the merch shop. It helps fund the platform. And at the same time, remember that this is our club, man. This is our squad. And sometimes you got to teach people lessons because they ain't listening to you. So you got to bend them, you know? So anyway, I'm going to holler at y'all on the flip side. Much love to the fam, and I'm out.
Yeah. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, 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 Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your chain for the championship. Bucking on Tampa, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. Division really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy, then you probably smell the crooked referees or Roger Goodell. Yeah, running like this, and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, 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 Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
WhoThatDaily.com. That's right, the WhoThatDaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, even the top flight boxing news. So if you're a Who That and you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, WhoThatDaily.com is your site. The WhoThatDaily.com for the sport Who That in all of us. That's right, the Pro Shop is the platform store where you can go and buy all the latest merch to support the platform. Available at the Pro Shops, we have dozens of hundreds of products available for you and your family. Unisex tees for men and women, hoodies and sweatshirts, tank tops, kids and baby items, long sleeve tees, mugs, pillows, wall art, bath bedding, face masks, phone cases, stickers, bags, fanny packs, socks, hats, and many other items. Please feel free to check out the Pro Shops. The link is in the description section below. And remember, it helps the platform.